Hello and welcome to the next Lukozer retro game review video. And for this one we have Space Harrier for the Amiga. This came out in 1989, so it was 3 years after the Space Harrier arcade game itself came along. But such was the popularity of the arcade original that people wanted the conversion big time, and so even though it's somewhat late, 3 years, the Amiga version came along. Now, the Amiga was, you could say, unquestionably the most powerful of the home computers that had a conversion of Space Harrier done for it, and yet it still didn't have anything like the graphics power and the speed and that of the machines that were actually running the original Space Harrier arcade game. Seriously need a cup of tea when I'm doing these reviews at gone midnight. So, bearing in mind then that the Amiga was still nowhere near as powerful as any of the others, any of Space Harrier machines, it was always a case of how far would they have to compromise in order to actually get this game on here. And bearing in mind the game came on just one disc, and they couldn't do a multi-load. You just can't. The game's too fast and too frantic, and multi-load would absolutely destroy it. And to be fair to them, they didn't do a multi-load, or at least not as such. Now, as I say, I had this back in the day, but I was never too good at it. Yeah, I used to be pretty good at the arcade original. Now, on the Amiga version, and I think on all of the computer versions actually, you start with 9 lives, believe it or not. Now, on the arcade original, in my prime, 9 lives would have got me to about level 13 or 14. Not here, it doesn't. But anyway, let's get a game going. Now, this is what I mean by it's not a multi-load as such. There is quite a long wait between being, starting a level and actually playing. Here we go.
Get ready.
Now, I have a feeling that the speed that this game runs at means that this video could come out looking horrendous.
Get ready.
Almost as horrendous as my actual gameplay. Now, one thing I'm in favour of the Amiga version is that being able to use the mouse to control it means that you had the same kind of reaction speed as you did in the arcade original. Fucking hell, I'm doing really shit here. Whereas on all the 8-bit conversions, you were having to use either joystick or keys, and you were having a tough time. Unfortunately, the Amiga version doesn't run as fast as you would have expected it to, even though it's running plenty fast enough to probably send this video haywire. And on this level in particular, this boss at the end of level 1, there's almost a bit of a slack job done on the colouring, because the tiles on the bottom change colour along with the dragon. But anyway, now we're on to level 2. Now, I think each level is decrunching, which is why it takes a while before you can actually start. Because still waiting, still waiting, still waiting, and it's the longest wait before you can actually start a level of any of the conversions. Here we go, at last. I could get to about the boss of level 2. Sometimes I could get to level, not boss of level 2, usually get to the boss of level 3. Sometimes I could make it to level 4, but yeah, that was often pushing it.
Get ready.
And it's always this area with all the pillars and that I have the most trouble with. Hence why I never get through level 4. Oh, what a fucking prick. I do think that the collision detection is a bit suspect on the Amiga version. Here we are at the boss. There we go. So the boss of level 2 is dispatched quite easily, rather like the arcade version. This is almost certainly where it will be game over through level 3. But at least, unlike the Commodore 64 version, level 3 on the Amiga version is the level 3 on the arcade. The Commodore 64 version, for some reason, it was level 4 of the arcade until you got to the boss. The boss was right, but the level was wrong. And then when you went to level 4 on the 64 version, you actually got what is level 3.
Get ready.
I think I'm down to my last life, so this is definitely me out of it.
Get ready.
Okay, right. This is my last life. Shit. So there you go. That was a pretty crap go, but then I think you have to have unbelievably lightning reflexes to do well at well, any of the computer versions really, but particularly this one. Oh, fuck it, right. So, what do I think of it? I mean, graphically, I don't think it's too bad. I think they managed to do a reasonable job of the graphical quality of the arcade original. I mean, it's not as, not quite as good. They don't look quite as smooth or as polished. Speed-wise, yes, I think they've even managed to get the speed pretty well done. Sound-wise, they've got the sample of the every time you lose a life, quite nicely. The music, I think, is awful. It's a lot slower than the arcade version, and it just doesn't sound very good at all. So, gameplay-wise, and when you consider that Space Harrier, although I was a fan of it, it's an extremely simple premise, and we basically shoot anything that moves and anything that doesn't, and occasionally avoid stuff because they can't be shot, and that was it. And yeah, there's something about the Amiga version that just doesn't grab me as much as the arcade version, and I don't just mean the hydraulic chair. So I don't think it's the best version, the best conversion, which it should have been really. There would have been no excuse for it to not be, and if it hadn't been the best conversion, then something would have gone seriously wrong. So yeah, it's the best conversion. I would give it 7 out of 10. I think they did a reasonable job, but it is just lacking a little something, and it's not quite there, but it could have been much worse. I mean, just look at the conversion for the Amiga of Galaxy Force. My god. So there you go, Space Harrier for the Amiga, 7 out of 10. And that brings this video to an end. We shall see you at the next video.